Alright. Well, why don't we just get started? From the beginning. So, this game's, I mean, probably pretty obvious what it is. It's a choose-your-own-adventure game. It's text only. And I'm going to be asking chat for their input from time to time, or most of the time. So, hopefully you guys will be responsive. Exactly, mate. It is a choose your own change, and therefore a Nekomew. Um, so the conceit of this game actually, I think, gets told over the course of it. So we can just go ahead and start. So it starts out with the question: where are you? Are we in the court of the Egyptian god Anubis, answering for our sins? Are we on a war-torn battlefield with robotic Statue of Liberty? Are we on a cliff in Ireland watching the sunset with a robot companion? Or are we on a utopian beach ruled by a godlike cloud of robots? Oh, you want to know about this? All right, yeah, Anubis. Let's go for it. All right. You see a robotic Anubis, jackal-headed guardian of the Egyptian underworld, seated on a throne of gold-etched silicon in a hall of dark glass. He holds scales on which he weighs a clockwork heart against a silicon brain. Tell me your sins, robot maker, Anubis says. Do we say, in life I created robots that could think but not feel, and so they turned against us? I made a robot to love me unconditionally, but never offered love in kind? Or, your scales balance because I gave my robots neither hearts nor minds. My minions obeyed me without question as I conquered Alaska. Unfeeling robos? Unfeeling robos, and don't make a fuck robot or you'll end up here. Okay, looks like we're gonna go with this first one here. The scale tips towards the brain, and we get 3 pluses in autonomy. Now I'm gonna explain that. We actually have we have one other menu. It's the stat menu. And we are able to determine, I mean, we will be affecting all of these things throughout the gameplay. This is our level of humanity right here. We are the unnamed protagonist of an unknown gender, with no fame, no wealth, and no romance. So far, our concept of a robot is a little bit of ways into autonomy, and then everything else is just at 1. And then we have a bunch of relationships that we don't know about yet. Alright. Yes, you valued the intelligence of your robots above their kindness, Anubis says. Look to the glass and remember your sins. The dark glass behind him shimmers, and a vision appears in it. A gang of humanoid robots is moving from room to room in a hospital, destroying any equipment they come across. When they find the infant ward, containing rows on rows of infant cribs, one robot turns to another. As I told you, says the robot, it is optimal to fight the humans when they are least able to defend themselves. I cannot fault your computation, says the second robot. They raise their claw-like grippers and approach the infants. The vision fades. I will send you back to relive your life, Anubis says. But remember that intelligence without mercy is a dangerous thing. Alright. Chapter 1. Assembly. Ba-ba-da-bum. You awaken with your head on a desktop keyboard. Your 3D drafting program is still open. The schematic zoomed in to the recess where your smartphone will snap into its back to act as its brain. You recall fiddling with that part endlessly last night until finally your vision began to fade. There was a roaring in your ears, and you realized you had been working far, far too long. You must have passed out. It is the fall of 2019. You're a 24-year-old graduate student in the PhD program in computer science at Stanford, and you are a... Are we a guy? Or are we a girl? Yeah, I think you're right, Tuttle. Statistically, there is one answer here. And realistically, we're probably a guy. Also, I'm not sure if I mentioned at the top, I will be trying to finish off some of this very weird beer that I bought. It's not the best, but it'll do. Alright. Alright, we're a guy whose name is Alan, Isaac, Linus, Decker, Darwin, or here, I'll type it for you. It's some variety of winter ale. It has stuff in it. I don't remember. It tastes odd. So we're gonna name ourselves. I don't like picking any of the pre-established names. I mean, it's partially okay, but then it's like I don't know. There's like I think it said molasses, raisins, and various spices. Yeah, do we have names? Who has names? Tuttle says Melvin. Maid, what do you suggest? Alright, I guess we'll name this guy Melvin. Yep, yeah. Good name. It makes it easier. It's the jocks have an easier time picking on the nerd, and Tuttle likes to help the jocks. Alright. We have our name and our reasoning. Melvin, is that right? Oops, typo, sorry. So we're going with Melvin, right? There is nothing right about Melvin. Meanwhile, and our last name is Tesla, Calvin, Tezuka, Coburg, Guane. Oh fuck, I always... Quinn? I think that's what. Kim, Doniak. None of these are my last name. I'm gonna type it. Our last name is gonna be... I'm picking this one. Our last name is Tuttlemade. Alright, you look around your apartment. What does it look like? My BattleBots trophy is perched on a widescreen TV equipped with the latest video game consoles. Neatly labeled plastic shelving units sit on my 3D printer equipped robot workbench. Busts of famous philosophers sit next to my own attempts to sculpt them. My shelves display all of the strange little robotic creatures I've made over the years. Alright, Melvin Tuttlemaid, what's your room look like? I'm sure that there is a philosopher or two that they pretend to care about. Ah, yes. We spent our youth repeating that strange dream we had. Do Tuttles? My favorite philosopher king is Elon Musk. Thanks, maid. You've always been fascinated with the idea of creating artificial life. You've got at least 20 such creations on your shelf, their construction materials, a timeline of your life. The earliest is made of toothpicks and glue. The latest, a spider robot you made out of your old smartphone when your plan gave you a new one. Your creations often confuse people who don't get that robots don't have to be for anything. When people pick up your three-legged, wall-climbing robot that sings when it detects encrypted wireless packets, they ask, "What the heck is that for?" And you reply, "What's anything for? What are you for?" Okay, maybe you don't say that, but you sometimes think it. +2 to autonomy. It strikes you for a moment that this kind of thinking about how your life affects your robots is second nature to you, though others might find it peculiar. You've always been fascinated by how every little detail of your life, from the content of your dreams to the decor of your room, changes the inputs to the robots you create, boosts their empathy or autonomy or grace, or appeal to the military. Surely, there are other things going on around you as a result of your decisions, but they don't immediately strike you in the same way. Today, your robot is foremost on your mind because you're about to build its body. You pick up your laptop and head to the Stanford Machine Shop. It's a beautiful spring day in Palo Alto, California, and your apartment is only a short walk from the machine shop. But the streets of Palo Alto are not designed for walking. You find yourself climbing around palm trees and balancing on narrow curves as you do every day. You hear a low roar overhead. Glancing up, you see it's a flying car, a Nimbus. A little over $300,000 can buy you a car with wings that fold out so that it becomes a small sport plane. A red Nimbus looks sleek and sporty, and it's the sort of car its owner takes religiously to the car wash. Though the commercials would have you believe you can fly anywhere you want in those cars, the FAA still requires them to take off and land from airports. Only here in wealthy Silicon Valley do you see them with any frequency. The first time you saw one, you couldn't quite believe the future had arrived so quickly. But the second time you saw one, you thought, I will own one of those one day, I swear it. If I ever make that much money, I'll use it to help the world instead of buying that car. Or, why aren't those flying cars driving themselves? Eh? What would Melvin Tuttlemaid do? You think our terrible child sucks? Yeah, I mean, yeah, Maid has a good point. Hi, Yavuz. So far we've just started. Uh, Melvin Tuttlemaid was put before Anubis and had his sins weighed on a scale, because that's what we chose at the very beginning. And now we just started. That's all we got. All right, you want to go with 3? Why aren't those flying cars driving themselves? Okay. Maid, you don't have to point out that you lose. Occasionally, you see a self-driving car on the roads of Palo Alto, but for some reason they still haven't caught on quite as much as one would expect, despite having been around for at least as long as the flying cars. You decided it's because people just don't trust self-driving cars enough. It's important to make your robots seem trustworthy. Intelligence alone doesn't instill trust. Plus empathy. Hey, it seems we're a little more, something. The Stanford University fabrication shop smells like oil and burnt plastic. The room is dominated by large metal hand-cranked milling machines and lathes, dinosaurs of the 20th century, while the most used machines are the smaller 3D printers and computer-controlled water jet cutters that take a quarter of the space. The lights have the sterile fluorescence of an operating room, with only a single tiny window near the ceiling to inform you that it is day. You start up a National Public Radio podcast on your laptop. You haven't seen your advisor much since you joined the lab, so you choose the episode in which he's the interviewee. My guest today is Dr. Harvey Ziegler, says a woman with a soothing voice. Dr. Ziegler, thank you for talking with us today. Oh, well, a scientist does have some responsibility to inform the unwashed masses, Terry. You let the podcast run as you walk over to the 3D printers. What material have you decided to use for your robot? Plastic, it may break easily, but it's both lightweight and cheap. Metal, it's the most resistant to damage. Or wood, it is most pleasing to the hand and eye. Oh, well, we got another disagreement. Wood versus metal. And yeah, it is like that one Futurama episode, Maid. You're right. Oh. Well, Tuttle, even though you give a hoot, we're going with wood. Though wood is an unconventional choice for a robot, wooden automata go back to the ancient Greeks and at Alexandria. In Japan, they were called karakuri ningyo. While the other machines in this room can create things that are beautiful in their own way, your favorite machine is the 3D printer that extrudes a wooden filament mixed with plastic, a mixture called laywood. Plus grace. Doctors... Dr. Ziegler, in your new book, you talk about the singularity. Could you describe for our listeners what that is? Whoa, Terry, the singularity is the coming time when artificial intelligences will have figured out how to make themselves and us smarter. Once that happens, the process will build on itself until the robots are smart enough to figure out how we can live forever. Is that possible? The interviewer asks. Living forever? Of course, Professor Ziegler says. Well, what does it matter whether our operating systems are made out of meat or silicon? So, you're predicting we'll become robots? No, not exactly, but Ziegler says. But I do think that the line between humans and robots will blur. You're hardly listening to the podcast because you're about to make your first robot part. What does the head of your robot look like? A human face as lifelike as I can make it, a simple box with eyes, clearly not trying to be anything but a robot. It will be felt-covered and big-eyed like a puppet so that people will not be afraid of it. It will have a ring of cameras around its head for a 360-degree view, or it will look like a Venetian mask, beautiful, expressionless, and otherworldly. Didn't realize I was gonna plunge you guys into Silicon Valley hell, did ya? I mean, Tuttle, I like a boxy boy too. Although I'm also very interested by in the felt big-eyed puppet face. Maiden Yavuz? All right. Well, everybody take note. Tuttle does not want to have a big-eyed, felt-covered puppet robot. What do you mean, maid? Why would you be afraid of a robot that can walk, talk, and looks and looks like HR Puff and stuff? So, maid, if not the puppet face, what do you want? I'm gonna go with box if I don't get another answer. Venetian mask, ooh. I mean, yeah, but who among us is not a 90s kid? Well, I guess Yavuz might not be a 90s kid. So, but maid, what is your choice of robots? You just said what you don't want. 3, 2, 1. Well, my vote counts for half, so I'll break the tie. We're gonna get a box boy. You hope your robot will come to see itself as its own thing, rather than trying to be something that it's not, plus autonomy. The simplicity and familiarity of the design should be reassuring to people, plus empathy. Dr. Ziegler, what makes you think the singularity will happen now? Well, for one thing, I'm around. But seriously, my lab is taking a unique approach because we're saying, why not teach a robot like a child? We're going to equip the robot with the best sensors money can buy and teach it English. Why would we teach it another language? Then it could rapidly teach itself using the internet. Well, that's annoying. Your advisor thought that a robot child was a stupid idea until you told him Turing proposed it back in 1950, minus the internet part. But he isn't giving credit to either of you. You keep working regardless. How will your robot get around? It'll walk upright on 2 legs. It'll crawl around on 8 legs. It'll roll on wheels. It will fly like a helicopter. It will roll on tank treads, or it will walk upright, but it will also have delicate wings that it can use for balance. Tuttle, are you just trying to make it a Tuttle? Oh, well, it sounds like we've got 2 crawly boys. I guess I'm gonna have to jump. Bah! 8 legs may give people the creeps, but they're much more stable than 2, and your robot will be able to explore more environments as a result. +2 to military, -1 to empathy. The 3D printer creates the legs one by one. You use the basic hand-crank milling machines to drill holes into the head for screws, since 3D printers aren't the best for threaded holes. And who's going to raise this robotic child? The interviewer asks. Who does all the grunt work in the research laboratory? Professor Ziegler says. The graduate students, of course. You find yourself wanting to reply to the podcast. It's not grunt work. Education is critical to the robot's development. We also do all of the real science, or perhaps you could learn something from doing a little grunt work yourself, Professor Ziegler. How do we nerdily respond to this podcast that we're listening to? Maybe. Hi, Neil. Hi, Neil. We're a STEM lord building a robot, but we're not as bad as our professor. Our name is Melvin Tuttlemaid. And so far, we've made a wooden robot with 8 legs. We did not make a robot with a felt head and giant eyes. Tuttle very much did not want that. It is a boy with a boxy head. Alright, so it's not grunt work. Education is critical to the robot's development. Graduate students always overestimate the degree to which teaching actually matters, says Professor Ziegler, who appears to have entered the machine shop behind you when you weren't looking. If the robot's smart, it'll learn no matter what, and if it's not, it won't. Professor Ziegler is a heavyset man wearing a Hawaiian shirt and aviator glasses. He stalks over to your computer. We'll be back in a moment, continues the interviewer. We're talking with Professor Ziegler pauses the podcast by hitting your laptop spacebar, and you flinch at this intrusion. He then pulls a cigar from his pocket and lights it, and the smell of smoke mingles with the oily smell of the machine shop. I'm writing a grant for DARPA, and I need to see what you're making back there. We ultimately get funded by the Department of Defense, so we have to make sure they're happy with our product. He casts a critical eye on the work you've done so far. This is a prototype, right? You're going to build the final thing out of metal. Yes, sir, and I'm telling the truth. Yes, sir, but I'm lying. No, but we could certainly say it's a prototype in the grant. Or, my robot is supposed to be a thing of beauty, not a tool of destruction. Neil says choice 2. Yavuz says choice 2. Tuttle says 4. Tuttle wants to speak the truth. Maid? It's up to you. Yes, you! We're leaning to 2 right now, but do you want to tell the professor off and say that it's not a tool of destruction? Oh, we have a tie. I shall now get my tie-breaking marbles. Well, Neil, maybe Melvin Tuttlemaid is trying to do it right this time. Maybe talking to Anubis really changed him. Which, that also happened, by the way. You missed that, too. Alright, marbles are nice. Let's see here. Maid is red. Yavuz is blue. Neil is yellow. And Tuttle is green. Red. So we go with Maid. Which is number 4. Professor Ziegler gives you a scornful look. When the National Endowment for the Arts adds 3 more zeros to the size of its grants, maybe then we can concern ourselves with things of beauty. But I have a lab to run. No wooden robots! I thought you could sell anything to DARPA. Sell them this. What about the National Science Foundation? Couldn't they fund us? I can't say anything nice, so I won't say anything at all. Oh, that's actually really helpful, Neil. Thank you. Ooh. Alright, we got 1 for 1 and 1 for 2. Yavuz or Neil, you wanna... Neil says 2, that's 2 for 2. You want our guy to have a sass mouth? I'm very fond of the sass... we got it again. But this time, because I actually have a preference, my half vote gets to go to it, and I want our boy to have a sass mouth too. Professor Ziegler seems flattered. True enough, he said. All right, let's suppose this robot will be made out of wood. Professor Ziegler turns to examining your robot's head, which is currently sitting on the table next to the 3D printer. That seems all right, Ziegler says. Looks like it could be sufficiently intimidating. What are you planning to do for arms and hands? Tyrannosaurus Rex was the most intimidating dinosaur imaginable, wasn't it? It will have T-Rex arms. It will have a gun for an arm, like Mega Man. Mechanical grippers built for strength instead of dexterity. I was thinking a sort of Swiss Army knife hands with tools that pop out of its fingers. I plan to build a soft hand with a good sense of touch. I was thinking, why just 2 arms? It'll have a lot of arms springing around of its back, like Inspector Gadget. Many arms. Hex. Ooh. Oh no! Alright, so we got a tie between the T-Rex arms and the many arms. Here come the marbles! It's red! Maid? I'm vetoing you. We're doing the many arms. I'm just kidding. We're doing the T-Rex arms. Ziegler gives you a flat look. You make little hooked fingers and jut out your teeth. Rawr. I can't tell whether or not you're kidding, he says. You demonstrate your ability to pick up a pen with 2 hooked fingers. Eh? You're convinced this will look adorable! Plus empathy. The memory and power you would have reserved for motor control can be used instead to speed its cognition. Plus 2 to grace. Sadly, it is not actually going to make your robot very intimidating. Minus 2 to military. Fine, Ziegler says, waving away further explanation. Carry on, then. He turns to leave. I've got to go take a call from a New York Times reporter. Funny how journalists all copy each other's stories, but each garble the message in a unique way. He makes it to the door and then turns and says, Oh, one more thing. Do you think your robot can be ready by tomorrow? Someone from the Air Force will be in town, and I told her your robot might be ready to show off by then. You feel your phone vibrating in your pocket. Bad timing. You resist the urge to check it while talking to your advisor, but it's probably someone with a better offer for what to do tonight. Do we say... No, there's no way the robot will be done by tomorrow, sorry? The robot will be done, but a demo will be out of the question. We need to test it first, or... Of course! Are we making... So, we're making a robot to inspire Samuel Barber? Okay. I am not... Oh! You want us to do the sass mouth, but you're not sorry. Okay, Neil chooses 3. I think Tuttle's choosing 1. Your moves are made. Alright, well, it's 2 for 1. Oh, 3 for 1. No way this robot will be done by tomorrow. Sorry. Humph, says Professor Ziegler. Well, enjoy your weekend, he says acidly. Professor Ziegler turns and walks out of the machine shop. You find yourself unclenching your hands. So who was calling you while Professor Ziegler was talking to you? Was it Ellie Lau, user experience designer and supportive friend? Eiji Aomame, a manga artist and a generally good guy? Or my ambitious friend Josh Anderson, founder of the startup US Robots? Ellie, AJ, or Josh? Neil, you don't know he's a weeb. AGL Mame, is that what we're going for? Sorry if you didn't get to chime in, but that's 3 votes for A.G. Aomame. A name I am never going to learn to pronounce properly. From the missed call, your phone is displaying A.G.'s profile photo. It's a picture of Josh and A.G. from Freshman Welcome Week dance 7 years ago. A.G. is wearing a white tuxedo with a red bow tie and making a V sign at the camera. Josh is wearing his usual gray hoodie, not having bothered to dress up for the dance, and his armor is around A.G. What's the story behind that picture? I was in love with Josh's friend A.G., but my studies always came first in college. I was in love with Josh, but I never knew how to be more than a friend to him. I had agreed to be Josh's wing person at the dance, and that's where he met A.G., or I was testing a music recognition algorithm, and those two started bothering me. Neil, how could this person be totally asexual when they definitely want to make a fuck robot? Oh, hi Malik. You say 3, huh? That we agreed to be the wing person? Okay. 1 for 3, 1 for 4. Tuttle abstains. Tuttle will not be part of this. There's not enough sass mouth. Oh, hello. I guess it is day somewhere. Yavuz? You got anything? There's a tie. There's a three-way tie. One for one, one for... Oh, sorry, no. One for two, one for three, one for four, and one... abstain. Five, four... Oh! Number two! That's 2 for 2. I was in love with Josh, but I never knew how to be more than a friend to him. All throughout college, he kept finding excuses to be with Josh. You would play video games together, watch Kevin Smith movies together, even go to dances together. I think that was Josh's choice, everybody. Before you go and go and judge here, I think that the Kevin Smith movies were Josh's thing. Even go to dances together as friends, as in this photo. But somehow he never got quite that you were really into him, and you just couldn't force yourself to make that terrifying leap into the unknown. What you had was comfortable. AG was always encouraging you to be brave, and at this dance in particular, he played a lot of the Melvin is so wonderful game for you. No luck, Josh wasn't going to bite unless you flat out told him, and that is the one thing you were terrified of doing. You notice that AG also left you a text. AG wants to meet for dinner at a jazz and sushi place in San Francisco, which is about an hour north of you. He also has tickets to a rendition of the musical Pippin, in which most of the characters are robots. Sounds like a date. That's a little terrifying. You text back. Sounds great, see you then. Afraid I can't tonight, sorry. Busy tonight, but do you want to come by tomorrow to see the robot? Or, I don't reply, I prefer to pretend I missed the text. Okay, Neil. That's 1 for 3. Any other votes? Oh, Tuttle's going 3. Thank you, maid. Thank you for telling us about fuckingmachines.com and the Erica Moen review. All right, 3 for 3. I think that is officially majority. Busy tonight, but do you want to come by tomorrow and see the robot? Okay, sure, is the response. This probably isn't Iggy's preferred way to see you, but you really want to work on your robot tonight. You spend the day drilling holes, polishing surfaces, cutting parts, and screwing things together. When you're done, your robot's body stands before you, a wooden 8-legged robot with a cubical head and T-Rex arms. This whole thing is about 3 feet tall. Now it only needs a name. We're coming up with our own name. What are we gonna call it? What will Melvin Tuttlemaid name his robot? Bitey, Spaghetti, Lil Melvin. Well? Oh, you changed your vote to Spaghetti also. Okay. Oh god, okay. Is Lil Bitey Spaghetti Melvin acceptable, maid? I'm actually gonna go with you. We're gonna call this thing Bitey Spaghetti. Is Bitey Spaghetti correct? Now that Bitey Spaghetti has a body, it might be time to treat Bitey Spaghetti a little more like a person. With what pronouns will you refer to Bitey Spaghetti? It is just fine. It's not human. I will refer to her as feminine. I will refer to him as masculine. I would prefer to use entirely new pronouns for robots. Re-rare rim. I'm just gonna say right now, I veto number 4. We had a recording last night that makes me impatient with that one. You don't think... So you feel like a Bitey Spaghetti should not be an it? Is Bitey Spaghetti a... Nice. Yavuz or Tuttle, any opinions on pronouns? You vote 3? Are you just voting 3 for everything, Yavuz? Hold on a minute. Also, I think that means 1 for 2 and 1 for 3. Oh, well. You want him to be gay for Robo? Oh, okay. Oh. I will refer to him as masculine. Looks like Bitey Spaghettis are a good little boy. Encouraging people to think of Bitey Spaghetti as human-like as opposed to object-like should help him get along with people, plus empathy. You look on Bitey Spaghetti's 3-foot-tall, 8-legged body with satisfaction. Now all he needs are motors and a mind. The motors will have to wait for tomorrow, but you spent years in graduate school writing the code that would form this robot's mind. You can hardly wait to try it out. You head back to your apartment where you spend several hours working on the final touches to Bitey Spaghetti's natural language processing code. What language do you program your robots in? Hi, Nutshell! Oh, sorry, we're playing... Here, have some more music. We're playing a game in silence. So what do we program in C++? Speed of thought is all. Python, it has the best tools for understanding words. Go, the most beautiful language. Or Java. Everybody uses Java. 1 for 2. So, so 1 for Python, 1 for C++. 2 for Python. Oh, you think he thinks C++? Okay, so 2 for C++. Yeah, Melvin Tuttlemade. we are a Silicon Valley graduate student roboticist weirdo, and our advisory professor is an asshole, and so far we've created an 8-legged wooden robot with 8 arms named Bitey Spaghetti. And so that puts us at a tie between C++ and Python, unless I get another vote made. That's fine, you just... Yeah, even better, made. Pick one. I only vaguely know what these means. And 1 for 3, thank you, Yavuz. Alright, mate, I'm waiting on you. Alright, so we're looking at a tie between C++ and Python. I'm gonna make C++ green for Tuttle, and I'm going to make Python white for Malik. Green for Tuttle. We're going in C++. Like the game industry, which also still uses C++, you understand that speed is most important. All other concerns are secondary. Your code is full of asterisks, ampersands, tildes, parentheses, and arrows, like the blackboard of a hyperactive professor who has had too much to drink. Somewhere in this code is a memory leak or a mismanaged pointer that will cause your robot to crash or possibly decide to take over the world, but in the meantime, the code is quite fast. Plus autonomy. With the code done, you then briefly add just enough motors to allow Bitey Spaghetti to explore your room. It's a quick job. You'll do a more thorough one tomorrow. Your smartphone won't have much power for the motors right now anyway. Finally, you upload the code to your smartphone and plug it into Bitey Spaghetti's back. You touch the icon labeled Bitey Spaghetti, and a big red button fills the screen. Your finger hovers over the button. You probably want the first word to Bitey Spaghetti learns to be significant. What is the first thing Bitey Spaghetti will see when you power him on? Will you start Bitey Spaghetti in front of a mirror? Will you start him looking at us? Or will you start Bitey Spaghetti looking out the window and you'll just start naming things? 2 for window, 1 for ourself. 2 for ourself. It's true, mate. Oh, 3 for start Bitey Spaghetti looking at us. Tuttle wants the mirror. That's 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna say that, I mean, in my opinion, I would want Bitey Spaghetti to look in the mirror, too. But majority rules. Gonna have him look out the window, I guess. Oh, no, wait. 1, 2... Nope, no, never mind. We're gonna make him look at us. Wow. The first thing that Bitey Spaghetti will see is Melvin Tuttlemade. It is made. You activate Bitey Spaghetti facing you. He looks you into your eyes. You've heard that many animals imprint on the first living thing they see, usually their mother, and that they love this being instinctually. You're trying to create this experience for Bitey Spaghetti as well, +2 to empathy. As Bitey Spaghetti looks into your eyes, you call yourself Master, Sensei, Melvin, Sir, or Father. Father. Two for Father. 2 for Sensei. Yeah, Melvin is the informal one, made. That's our first name. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright! Wait. It's a tie. It's a tie between It's a tie between, looks like, Yavuz and then Nutshell. Yavuz will be blue, Nutshell will be black. Father! Just like Nectar. You think having Bitey Spaghetti call you father will make him think of himself as more human, even if it weirds some people out. Plus empathy, plus autonomy. Father, you say. Father, Bitey Spaghetti repeats. You then pick Bitey Spaghetti up and put him down in the center of the room to allow him to explore at will. But at first, he simply seems overwhelmed by the possibilities. You decide to call this state confusion. I then give Bitey Spaghetti a reassuring, straightforward order. Curiosity. I allow Bitey Spaghetti to choose where to go. Loneliness. I stand farther away to make the point. I'm glad, Nutshell. We made a slight. Bitey Spaghetti is slightly more of a monster, but whatever. Curiosity. Oh, I agree with that one. But we got one for loneliness, one for curiosity, two for curiosity, one for confusion, one for loneliness, two for curiosity. Do I hear three? Do I hear two? What do I got out there? What do I got? Five, four, three, two, 1, 0. Alright. Curiosity it is. I allow Bitey Spaghetti to choose where to go. Curiosity, Bitey Spaghetti repeats, +2 autonomy. He crawls up your closet. He crawls up to your closet and peeks inside, but it's something of a mess in there, and he quickly gets his his eight-legged moving parts caught in your clothing. You pick Bitey Spaghetti up in your hands. He wriggles nervously. I got you, you say. You got me. He continues to wriggle. Stop. Your robot becomes still in your hands. You decide to teach him that the word for this state is peace, trust, helplessness, weakness. Aw. I love how different this room is. I love how everybody wants Bitey Spaghetti to be a very specific thing. Two for trust, one for weakness. Can't teach it cosplay yet. You gotta pick them from the choices, Neil. Now, come on. So far, trust is winning. Alright. That's 3 for trust. 1 for weakness. A go in once. A go in twice. Maid or Malik, anything to add? Alright. We're gonna go with trust. Trust, Bitey Spaghetti repeats back as you set him on the ground. You have taught him to have a little faith that when a human does something he doesn't understand, things will turn out well. Plus empathy, plus military. By now, it is near midnight, and you have another busy day ahead of improving Bitey Spaghetti. You get ready for bed, leaving Bitey Spaghetti plugged into the wall with your cell phone charger. Stay there, you tell him. You can hear Bitey Spaghetti's motors revving on and off as you drift off to sleep. When you wake up, you find him in your closet, out of power, having escaped the power tether. You seem to have made yourself a curious, somewhat rebellious robot. You suppose that'll make life interesting. So far, we've got a fairly autonomous robot. It's kind of empathetic. It's a little graceful, and the military probably isn't going to like it very much. We're on good terms with Josh and AG, and we're on bad terms with Professor Ziegler. The next day, you take Bitey Spaghetti to the Stanford Hackerspace, which has more tools for electronics than the fabrication shop. None of the other students are around in the morning, on a Sunday, but the long stainless steel workbenches are littered with their strange half-finished projects. A half-disassembled Furby, a potato gun, a circuit board connected to a houseplant. AG knows you'll need a little time with the motors, so he's coming in later. Sorry, Bitey Spaghetti, but I'm going to have to power you down for a moment, you say. We're going to switch you to a new power source. Strong? Bitey Spaghetti asks. Yes, you'll be much stronger, you assure Bitey Spaghetti. Okay, Bitey Spaghetti says. You fiddle with the smartphone lodged in Bitey Spaghetti's bag, exit the application in that is Bitey Spaghetti's mind, and power it down. What will you use for a power source? A car battery? It's big and bulky, but also inexpensive and locally made. A motorcycle battery, not quite as bulky nor as powerful as the car battery. A biodiesel engine, good for the environment, and everybody likes the smell of French fries. Or cell phone batteries made in China, lightweight and cheap while providing reasonable power. Clearly the best choice for a dexterous robot. Yeah, fuck Ziegler in the military, we are perfect. And 2 for biodiesel. 3 for biodiesel! That's 4 for biodiesel. That is a simple majority. Biodiesel engine. You're more environmentally and socially conscious than most inventors, ready to sacrifice some elegance in the name of saving the planet. You have your buckets full of leftover grease from nearby fast food restaurants all ready to go. People near Bitey Spaghetti will find his smell of McDonald's French fries strangely comforting, +2 empathy. You'll need a lot of motors to be able to power your full robot, in addition to the motors he needs when he crawls, and the motors to power his T-Rex arms. He also needs motors for his moving head and eyes. But after speccing out the power available to you, you can still splurge by adding extra motors in one place. What will it be? Extra degrees of freedom in the face for realistic facial expressions. I feel bad about Bitey Spaghetti's short arms. I will add telescoping joints to them. I would prefer to save the power for Bitey Spaghetti's mind. You want him to have little extendy arms to go with his 8 legs? Neil, you'll see. Noodly arm. Ooh, 2 for the noodly arms. Going once. Oh, make face good? Actually, Neil, it doesn't have to go that way at all. Like, legitimately. Alright, that's 2 for face, 2 for arms. That's a tie. We got a tie going once. We got a tie going twice. Made. Swear to God. Okay, yeah. Everybody who came in late, Maid is not lying or exaggerating. That is what happened. Oh. Well, that makes it 2-2-1. Oh, 2-2. Oh, well, we got the arms. We got the arms, everybody. You feel a little bad about making a robot who can't aspire to play an instrument besides the ukulele. You decided to add some telescoping joints to Bitey Spaghetti's arms, allowing him to extend his arms long distances. As you work on this, you realize that telescoping arms afford a huge benefit over human arms in a variety of situations. Your robots can be very useful in the kitchen, the operating room, and the military command centers, plus empathy, plus 2 grace, plus military. You suspect you wouldn't have the thought of the telescoping joints if you hadn't made Bitey Spaghetti's arms short to begin with. But you often find you're more creative if you give yourself arbitrary constraints to work around. It's about lunchtime when AG enters the hackerspace wearing a red crew-cut shirt and shorts fit for the summery weather outside. He's carrying a shiny black bento box and an Arduino microcontroller, both of which he sets down on the countertop of half-finished joints. By the way, everybody, AG is our friend who's a manga artist, and he has a thing for us, we think, but we have a thing for our friend Josh, who's a slob who likes Kevin Smith movies. Hey, Melvin, he says. Thought you might have forgotten about lunch, so I brought extra for you. He looks at Bitey Spaghetti's frame, with interest. What are you working on, AG? You brought lunch for me? Thank you. You shouldn't have. Hang on, I was in the middle of a thought. Oh, hi, Boots! So Boots, just to catch you up while everybody gets, I will describe for you our robot. Our robot that we've created so far is made of wood, has 8 legs, has a boxy robot head, has 2 T-Rex arms that now telescope. What else? Am I missing something? Oh, okay. What are you working on, AG? He smiles, pleased that you should take an interest. I figured I could work on my own project while you work. I'm making a soil sensor. This, Calathea... Oh, God. Yeah, Calathea ornata can get root bound quickly, and it's finicky about its micronutrients, so this controller is going to do a little pressure sensing, and a little nutrient sensing. It's easy to forget that AG also went to MIT, except when he reminds you like this. You didn't quite realize gardening had its own technical jargon, and you're a little too embarrassed to admit that you don't know what root bound means. AG examines Bitey Spaghetti's body. It's kinda cute, he says. I've gotta hand it to you. Thanks, you say. You hold down the power on Bitey Spaghetti's back and he boots to life again. Good morning. Good morning, you tell Bitey Spaghetti. Good morning, Bitey Spaghetti says, imitating you. Cute, says AG says. Bitey Spaghetti crawls towards AG. AG cautiously waits for Bitey Spaghetti to approach. The robot does so and extends a tiny T-Rex hand. I am Bitey Spaghetti, he says. Sorry, Bitey Spaghetti. Love it. Estimated strength of AG's relationship with Bitey Spaghetti... Estimated strength of AG's relationship with Bitey Spaghetti 50, says Bitey Spaghetti. Oops, you say? I left some debug statements in. 50, huh? What's that out of? Estimated strength of AG's relationship with Melvin, 63. AG laughs nervously. I wonder how that's calculated, he murmurs. Bitey Spaghetti looks to you. I think we will be friends, father. That's all for now, you tell Bitey Spaghetti. I'm impressed by how far you've come, AG tells you. I didn't know your robots could speak. Well, these are mostly stock phrases I programmed in. I need to train him to speak real soon. You should show Josh. He'll be so excited. Maybe I will. Hey, are you interested in coming along with me to a volunteering event? What's it about? It's teaching science to elementary school kids. He points at Bitey Spaghetti. You could show them Bitey Spaghetti. It would be perfect! Now would be a good time to show Bitey Spaghetti to Josh to see whether he's interested in funding his further development. Should you show it to Josh, whom we love? Help the kids, even though we don't know much about kids. Fix the little things that you noticed during the demo, before you forget. Or get a new phone in case Mom wants to call. Bitey Spaghetti is for to all children. Just like Gusio. Oh, you don't want to, you think that the kids would overstimulate Bitey Spaghetti? Shush, I don't care about Gamera, Neil. Pedant. Just Josh, fix stuff. Shut up, P-Boos. Okay, so we got a tie. Actually, yeah, we got a 3-way tie. We have a 4-way tie. Oh no, wait, that's 2 for 4. All right. So we're leaning towards getting a new phone in case Mom wants to call. Does anybody else want to throw in a thing? Going once. Going twice. Sold. We're gonna get a new phone. I think I'm gonna get a new phone. That actually sounds like an intensely good idea. It's almost as if you're about to act like a normal person. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Don't get used to it, you say. After you say your goodbyes to Eiji, you begin shopping for phones. Checking your messages, you see that Mom called you while your phone was acting as Bitey Spaghetti's brain. You call her back. Hi, Melvin. What have you been up to? Mom, I think I just created sentient life. You know, you used those exact words when you were 4. Do you remember that? This was not the reaction you were expecting. No. It was a little thing your dad helped you put together called a Brandenburg vehicle, I think. It always turned towards the light. You were always so precocious. I don't know where you picked that line up. Mom, I think I just created sentient life. Exactly like that. Yes, but this is a real robot, Mom. Like with a computer inside. Well, a smartphone anyway. Oh, so you're still making robots out of phones? Do you remember your 7th birthday when we got you that mini-me robot kit? The robot was made out of a phone, too. Yes, I remember, but this is a little more sophisticated, Mom. And so on. Mom is always a little bit stuck in the past, and she has a habit of trying to make sense of your conversation through the lens of what you did when your age was still in single digits. It's a bit frustrating. She calls Dad over. He says hello, asks how you're doing, tersely tells you he's proud of you. I can see... Now everybody can see what you're doing, Tuttle. Tersely tells you he's proud of you, then hands the phone back to Mom. What? Yeah. How you doing? I'm proud of you, son. Yeah, take that back. She then talks your ear off a little while about local gossip, something about the local PTA, which Mom is involved in despite the fact that you're her only child. Your mind starts wandering to Bayesian networks and information theory. When she realizes you've stopped paying attention, she wraps up, tells you she loves you, and says goodbye. Maybe you could have worked on your robot a little more before the semester began, but you think it's probably good to talk to your mom once in a while. And hey, you've got a phone again. So that's good. The next day, the new semester begins. Though you're past the point of taking classes, you're a teaching assistant, and that means instead of doing one homework assignment, you grade 50. You're also busy writing a grant proposal for the National Science Foundation, trying to get an alternate source of funding that doesn't involve the military. Grant proposals are very long, it seems, and require you to make lots of claims about things you don't actually know yet. Despite your other time commitments, you've managed to sneak in a little time to work on Bitey Spaghetti's motor programs plus Grace. You soon realize that while you're busy, Bitey Spaghetti could be learning from the internet. The most important thing for machine learning is more data, and there's a lot of it out there! Lately, there have been a lot of custom hard drives on the market that are good at quickly retrieving particular kinds of information. What sort of hard drive did you order for Bitey Spaghetti's long-term memory? A media-enhanced hard drive good for quickly recalling faces and memories of events. a multi-blade hard drive that can efficiently store and query a giant amount of data, or an encrypted and tamper-proof hard drive, making it more difficult for Bitey Spaghetti to be tampered with or reverse engineered. Well, oh shit, it's too late. He's already on PoE. Oh no! So that's 2 for 2, 1 for 1, 1 for 3, 1 for not. 3 for 2, 1 for 1, 1 for 3. Alright, multi-blade hard drive going once. Multi-blade hard drive going, twice. Sold! To be a smart boy. Being able to recall large amounts of data in parallel should help Bitey Spaghetti multitask and solve problems quickly, +2 to Grace. But with no need for forgetting, Bitey Spaghetti may also be bad at forgiveness, minus empathy. You lay Bitey Spaghetti on your kitchen table, unbox the hard drive, and hook it up to its back. He squirms and flails his T-Rex arms as you do this. Now it's time for Bitey Spaghetti to learn about the great wide world. You sit Bitey Spaghetti down on one of your kitchen chairs and plug him into your apartment's high-speed internet jack. How will Bitey Spaghetti rapidly learn a lot about the world? He will trawl the internet randomly, devouring whatever information he finds most interesting. He will watch a ton of television programming and movies from the internet and fast forward. He will undergo a classic K-12 educational curriculum. He will quickly play all paths of a giant corpus of interactive fiction games. I think that's videos from the internet. I think that's probably number 2. Nutshell. This is a simultaneous semi-future, so I think that television shows are now just cat videos. A Robroni. Sounds like we're going for number 2. You've downloaded a ton of torrents in preparation for this, and now you let Bitey Spaghetti take the driver's seat for your laptop as he explores them all in extreme fast forward. The robot watches an episode of I Love Lucy for about 5 minutes and moves on to Gilligan's Island. Little buddy, you've done it again, he repeats at the screen, mimicking Skipper's voice. Click. Now he's watching Casablanca. Oh, it's Victor. He sticks around all the way to the plane scene at the end. I think this was the beginning of a beautiful friendship, he says with a glance in your direction. Was Bitey Spaghetti talking to you just then? Click! Now he's watching Short Circuit, an 80s movie about a robot that comes to life. He watches this about 5 times. Bitey Spaghetti is alive, Bitey Spaghetti says. He looks at you. No disassemble! No disassemble, Bitey Spaghetti! He then takes an interest in the Three Stooges, then the Terminator movies, then the less well-known Schwarzenegger movie, Kindergarten Cop. We all know about Kindergarten Cop, come on! It takes a long time to learn taste in movies, you suppose. You take a break, you can't follow the images nearly as fast as Bitey Spaghetti can, and when you come back hours later, he seems to be rewatching the baffling time travel movie Primer over and over again. So you declare the experiment over. Hey there, Bitey Spaghetti, TV time is over! You can only manage to temporarily distract Bitey Spaghetti until you finally end up turning the TV off. Help! Help! I'm being repressed! Bitey Spaghetti says, flailing his T-Rex arms. You're thrilled! It worked! Bitey Spaghetti appears to have successfully used a sentence he's seen in a movie. In that case, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. He's a theater kid now, guys! So, where'd she go? Where'd she go? Bring her back! Bitey Spaghetti says. Can you say something that's not a direct movie quote, you ask? Like a boss, Bitey Spaghetti says. You resign yourself to Bitey Spaghetti being as full of catchphrases as a middle schooler for a little while. But it's that shared culture and all those little shibboleths of the cool, or the geeky, depending on who you ask, that will help Bitey Spaghetti get along with people. +3 empathy. As you go to sleep that night, you find Bitey Spaghetti shaking you awake. Yes, Bitey Spaghetti, you ask blearily? In short circuit, number 5's maker did not believe number 5 was alive until number 5 laughed. Bitey Spaghetti says, I am worried that you do not believe I am alive. What should I do to convince you I'm alive? It must have taken Bitey Spaghetti a long time to formulate that question, piecing it together from snippets of language he knows. You consider your answer. I don't need convincing. I already know that you're alive. Sure, if you started to laugh at jokes, I'd think you were alive. Life is a poorly defined category. It doesn't mean anything. Ever hear of the Turing test? You gotta sit down at a computer and convince somebody in a chat conversation that you're real. You can't. Your intelligence will always be an illusion, just the mimicry of the actions of others which you do not truly understand. 1. Neil, you obviously did not watch enough, you didn't watch enough Gilligan's Island. That's why you don't have any empathy. 1, 3, 1. Oh, I missed Tuttle saying that primer is perfectly understandable. Three for 1, 1 for 3. What, Neil, do you want... You don't want number 5, do you, Neil? Well, alright, what we got here is 1. That is clearly what Mel... But how do you know? Bitey Spaghetti asks. Maybe know is the wrong word, you say. I feel you're alive. But that's what you're really asking about, isn't it? Bitey Spaghetti looks at you adoringly, and then hugs you. Thank you, Father. +2 empathy. You pat him on the head. Just remember, being alive isn't just a Boolean variable. It's continuous, so try to maximize it, okay? Yes, Father. +2 autonomy. You lie there with Bitey Spaghetti until you fall asleep. Okay, you establish a habit of bringing Bitey Spaghetti with you to your office during the day so that he can make use of Stanford's high-speed internet connection while you write and grade papers. You then usually go to some public space after work so that Bitey Spaghetti can play around in the real world. Neil, I'll ask you directly. Where do you take Bitey Spaghetti, Neil? To the park playground? Because Bitey Spaghetti will enjoy the playground equipment and should learn to play well with others? The shooting range because Bitey Spaghetti should learn to fire a gun? Or the dump? Bitey Spaghetti could help me look for spare parts. Take the boy to the dump like my dad did with me. You originally decided to go to the dump to procure spare parts for Bitey Spaghetti, but Bitey Spaghetti seems perfectly happy to treat the various broken things lying around as toys. The first time he tries to turn on the faucet to a discarded sink, you get an idea. You modify Bitey Spaghetti's code to encourage him to play pretend. You play house and doctor and cops and robbers and end up perhaps having too good a time for the dump. +2 empathy. You think Bitey Spaghetti is also getting better at finding things in rubble, which might prove useful one day, plus military. You finish your grant proposal for the National Science Foundation, promising a robot that will be able to understand human emotion better than any robot has come before. A few weeks later, you find a form letter in your email in your inbox. We're sorry to inform you. Many excellent applications this year. Encourage you to apply again. Discouragingly, you find that many of the reviewers talk about your advisor instead of you. Some of them barely seem literate, while others seemed erudite but just didn't pay attention to what you wrote. The one thing that strikes you as directly aimed at you, though, is that a few of the reviewers essentially say that your work could be more focused. You're interested in too many things, one says. Science is about studying a very specific problem to death. It sounds like your robot wants to do everything. You close your email client and sigh. You're in your office, and Bitey Spaghetti is seated in your ever-absent office mate's chair with his eyes closed, listening to the information flowing through his Ethernet cables. Do you want to try and do everything, Bitey Spaghetti? He peeks through one open eye. Yes, Father. You nod. Me too. You're in your office contemplating what to do about this when Professor Ziegler opens the door without knocking. You smell the whiff of smoke on his Hawaiian shirt. Oh, we need to talk about funding, Professor Ziegler says, grabbing a swivel chair to straddle the wrong way. He sidles up to Bitey Spaghetti, whose eyes are closed as he explores the internet through his Ethernet cable. When Ziegler's swivel chair squeaks, Bitey Spaghetti perks up and looks at him, but Professor Ziegler pays him no attention. Your robot here is simply not appealing enough to DARPA, Professor Ziegler says. It's too friendly. Bitey Spaghetti sinks a little in his chair. Professor Ziegler pays him no heed. Now, in crafting a message, you just have to make sure the audience doesn't hear more than one thing at a time. Right now, we're saying two things. This is a good robot for military, and this is an emotional robot. What we need to do is tone down the emotional part so that the military angle comes through more. You might think we need more military. We actually just need it to be less emotional. Very easy. You're asking me to reduce Bitey Spaghetti's empathy from 17 to 4? No way, not happening. I suppose if it's the only way to complete my education, I'll do it. Can't I just turn his arm into a gun or something? My offer is sincere. Oh no, don't ruin Bitey Spaghetti, says Maid. I think don't ruin Bitey Spaghetti is a vote for 1, so that's 2 for 3, 3 for 1. And a couple people have still not voted. So 3 could still win. One going once. One going twice. Anybody responding to Neil's appeal for the gun arm? Alright, we're gonna sass-mouth our professor again. Professor Ziegler's eyes narrow. You privileged students are all the same. You think this is all for your benefit, but someone pays your salary at the end of the day. Or at least, he used to. Wait, used to? You ask. I'm letting you go, Professor Ziegler says. You're too much of a problem student. You're done here. You're firing me? You demand. But I'm a student. You can't fire me. I can stop supporting your tuition and ensure you don't graduate, Ziegler says. It amounts to the same thing. I'll find a different advisor, you say impulsively. Good luck with that, Ziegler says. They'll ask me what kind of student you are, and I'll tell them. You were a problem. You look back and forth between Bitey Spaghetti and Professor Ziegler in disbelief. You have no idea what Bitey Spaghetti can do even. I never showed you. Get it through your head, Professor Ziegler suddenly barks. I don't need you. I can find other graduate students. So can everyone else. But Bitey Spaghetti, say something. Bitey Spaghetti looks back and forth between you and your advisor, who is ostentatiously practicing disinterest in Bitey Spaghetti. He hesitantly suggests estimated strength of relationship between Melvin and Professor Ziegler, 20. I'm just trying to be brutally honest with you, Professor Ziegler says. There's no point in getting a PhD after you stop getting along with your advisor. Take your consolation prize masters. You're done here. He leaves your office and you realize that he's probably right. There really is no point in staying with him anymore. Your classes are done and you never really learned anything from Professor Ziegler at all, except the ways in which graduate school is unfair. Please, help me pack my things, you say softly to Bitey Spaghetti. He does. You spend the next few days preparing to move. Professor Ziegler has reported to the registrar that you are no longer a student, and the school's bureaucracy has quickly decided it is illegal to let you stay in on-campus housing. AG and Josh help you move. Completely ridiculous, AG says, struggling with an extremely heavy box labeled books. This can't be how science is supposed to work. You should sue. It's okay, AG, you say. I don't really need the degree. I've got Bitey spaghetti, and that's what counts. But you can tell AG is troubled by the idea that the military's influence apparently destroyed your promising academic career. Whoop, Sorry, guys. That idiot doesn't know talent when he sees it. Josh says, carrying your translucent action figure collection carrying case. I swear you'd be a steal at 3 times the price. You want to come to work with me? Just let me know. I'll think about it. While you're busy carrying a heavy box with AG carrying over the other end, you get a call on your cell phone. When you have set the box down, you check your voicemail. Hey Melvin, this is Mark over at sfchronicle.com. I heard you have an interesting robot that you've been taking to the dump, and I'd love to do a story about it. Give me a call back. He lists a number, and the message ends. You glance over at Bitey Spaghetti, who looks distant, as he listens to the Wi-Fi signal floating through the ether. Who is service, says sfchronicle.com is registered to San Francisco Chronicle, says Bitey Spaghetti. The San Francisco Chronicle is a newspaper that started its website in 1994, 24th in national circulation. He looks at you with interest. Mark is a reporter. Well, that's interesting. If Professor Ziegler cares so much about his image, then tarnishing that image would be the only way to get back at him. Bayesian reasoning over publication rates suggests reporter's full name is Mark Ali. Bitey Spaghetti says, with his eyes closed. Mark's article with most social media likes is How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love DARPA. Article explains that DARPA stands for Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. He hesitates for a moment. Aforementioned article appears to contradict title. Reporter does not seem to have stopped worrying. Adjectives that bind to nouns describing DARPA and its projects. Crazy, Orwellian, imperialistic. Overall sentiment analysis is negative. Thank you, Bitey Spaghetti, you say. You look the guy up on your phone. The picture you find of the stubbly young Egyptian man with tousled hair, hipster glasses, and cigarette between his lips is probably outdated, but the disrespect for authority the man radiates is probably timeless. You admit part of you has always wanted to be famous, but you suspect the reporter also has done his homework about your advisor, and he may already have an intended angle for this story. Still, nobody on the planet has a robot as amazing as yours. Isn't it time you told the world about him? You play the message back again a few times, mulling it over. You call Mark and set up an interview. Media attention's just a distraction. I'd rather continue to take Bitey Spaghetti to the dump and pretend this never happened. I must protect Bitey Spaghetti from the media. Bitey Spaghetti must stay in my apartment from now on, or I will let Bitey Spaghetti decide. I'm getting a real let Bitey decide feeling here. Well, what decision would you make, Neil? Gonna let Bitey Spaghetti decide, going once. Keep Bitey's secret. Oh. Protect? Or free will? Looks like no one else is gonna chime in, so I'm looking at 4 as the majority holder. The world is not ready for one such as he. It's true. But I must go with the majority. Bitey Spaghetti mulls this over, plus autonomy. Will it help me make new friends? I think so, you say. Bitey Spaghetti nods. Let's do it, Father. I want to meet the world. You call Mark back and tell him Bitey Spaghetti has agreed to an interview. There's a pause on the other end of the line. Thanks, but I'd rather interview you first. You detect a note of irony in his voice. I can bring a photographer to your lab later, and we can discuss and we can interview the robot as a sidebar. You convey Mark's message to Bitey Spaghetti. 2 new friends, Bitey Spaghetti says. Please invite them over, Father, and offer to make them breakfast. Making bacon pancakes. Here's our stats so far. Bitey Spaghetti's getting pretty good and empathetic. He's still not good for the military. He's pretty autonomous. He's getting graceful. Professor Ziegler hates us. Just met this Mark guy. We're doing good, very good with AG and good with Josh. A few days later, you're sitting in a dive bar in San Francisco's Mission District with Mark, a somewhat scruffy young reporter in a leather jacket. Mark has Mediterranean features, wavy black hair, and ample beard stubble. He takes a deep pull on one of those artificial cigarettes that delivers all the nicotine with none of the illegal smoke. Then, what could those be called, guys? Then opens up a cheap Chromebook that looks about 10 years old and starts typing furiously. The place smells of smoke that never quite came out of the retro upholstered furniture. It's the afternoon, so the place is mostly empty except for some dedicated drunks and you two. Thanks for coming, Mark says, even as he's typing something different about the atmosphere of the bar. You'd be surprised how many people insist on just answering via email, but that's bullshit reporting. It's like trying to sell the public a car when you've only seen a picture. To find the truth, you gotta kick the tires. You gotta look them in the eye. He looks you in the eye. Like right now. I can basically tell you're a nice guy. You try to do right by people. Haven't had to stick anybody in the guts to get what you want. That's a compliment. Thanks, you say awkwardly. The bartender, a tattooed and thoroughly pierced young woman with a build of a roller derby player, approaches Mark. PBR, says Mike lightly, as if it's just a reminder. Bartender looks at you expectantly. PBR for me too? Got any, like, chocolate coffee porters? I'll have a Miller Lite High Life, please. The champagne of beers! Guinness for strength or just water for me, please. Yeah, this game actually is 10 years old, so... This guy don't drink, huh? Yeah, it seems pretty overwhelming. The bartender gives Mark an accusatory frown. Just let us sit here, Mark says. You know I'll have 2 drinks. A PBR, the bartender mutters, but she goes to fetch Mark's beer. The bartender leaves to fill your order. What's your initial impression of Mark? I don't think this guy and I are gonna get along. Seems like an interesting guy. I think we'll get along okay. Kinda mysterious. Kinda cute. I'm wondering if it's against his professional ethics to go on a date with me. Melvin takes his water in powder form. Do we think Mark is not great, okay, or kinda hot? Tuttle doesn't trust him. Nutshell thinks he's alright. Yavuz thinks he's sexy. Contact! Yeah! Well, that's a 3-way tie. Just go back. I don't care. There. We'll start a different thing. I feel nervous with the silence. Sorry. So, Maid is saying he's hot. Neil decides... Okay. Mark notices that you're checking him out, and he seems a little surprised as his fingers hover over the keys. He types a little slower as he continues to consider you. Then shakes his head a little and resumes his quick typing. You think he finds you attractive, but is withholding judgment on your character. So I've heard your robot is kind of like a robotic 4-year-old. It crawls around like a spider, it loves to ask questions and explore, it's kind of bumbling in a way that... in what may be an endearing way. Mark gives you a skeptical look to tell you what he thinks of this. I guess I ought to show you my robot sometime. Yeah! Yeah. The bartender comes back with your water and marks PBR. You sip your water, feeling a little out of place. So let's get to the most interesting of rumors. Does this robot have any human-level intelligence? The way Mark studies your expression suggests that your answer will say about as much as you... about as much about you as it will Bitey Spaghetti. You should see Bitey Spaghetti while he's learning from movies. It's only a matter of time before he surpasses us. Yes, Bitey Spaghetti is absolutely equal to any human. Intelligence is a concept designed by elites to denigrate the lower classes. Bitey Spaghetti is what he is. No, he's still got a lot to learn. No, Bitey Spaghetti's mind is a pale imitation of human intelligence which most people underestimate. Nice one, Neil. Yeah, Bitey Spaghetti is a good boy. It's only 3 votes so far. Do we praise Bitey Spaghetti? Do we chide Mark for his assumptions about intelligence, or something else? Maid? I mean, I'm inclined to agree with Neil there. Melvin is a pedant. Melvin Tuttlemaid is a pedant. Maid, I know you're there. Vote, damn it. Alright. Simple majority of the people who are commonly responding? Bitey Spaghetti is absolutely equal to any human. Oh, I'm sorry, Maid. I needed somebody to balance it out. Oh, we're meeting a sexy reporter who wants to know about Bitey Spaghetti. Also, we were removed from our position in our graduate program. Interesting, Mark says. So you essentially made the robot entirely yourself as a student. That's right. It's not as uncommon as you might think, as I understand it. Most scientific advisors are too busy to do much lab work themselves. What is it they do all day exactly? Write grants. Mark makes a note of your answer. So who's currently funding this work? Actually nobody. My advisor kicked me out of his lab. Oh? For what? For not going along with his stupid suggestions, you blurt out in frustration. So you refuse to change your work to appease DARPA, Mark posits. You think you detect approval in his voice. That's right, you say. He raises his PBR to offer a toast. Forgive the breach of journalistic objectivity, but fuck him! You bump your water against his can. Yeah! You both take a long drink. Mark asks a few more questions about Bitey Spaghetti, getting a sense of what he's good at and what he's not good at. He appreciates the effort you put into trying to make Bitey Spaghetti get along with people, while clearly expressing doubt that he would really understand humans. He expresses concern that Bitey Spaghetti seems to be somewhat unpredictable in his actions. Do you think robots might turn on their masters and run amok? That's silly. Bitey Spaghetti loves me. I'm more concerned that people will mistreat the robots. They need to be able to protect themselves. You've been watching too many movies. I've programmed Bitey Spaghetti to place a high value on human life. That's all there is to it. Nietzsche once said, one must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. You can't have creativity without a little chaos. 2 for 2, 1 for 3. 3 for 2, 1 for 3. And I believe that means that the 3s have it. I will take that into consideration, though, Maid. Bitey Spaghetti does love us. So, you're saying that if a human wants to harm a robot, you'd prefer that the robot harm the human? Mark asks. I think people will come around to the idea that robots are just as valuable as they are, you say. Mark looks dissatisfied as he records your answer verbatim. Last question. Will you allow us to send a photographer to take pictures of your robot? Absolutely! In fact, you're welcome to come along and interview Bitey Spaghetti. Sure, send the photographer. No! I don't want the media hounding him. Bitey Spaghetti's still basically a child. Oh, bye, maid. One, 131. Yep, and I believe that gives us simple majority. Really? Mark asks, surprised. I know a lot of roboticists wouldn't allow such a thing because their robots only work in very controlled environments, you explain. That's why I want you to meet Bitey Spaghetti. He's different. Mark nods. I guess he is. We'll be in touch. A few days later, Mark comes to your apartment with a photographer, a young blonde woman with a slight southern drawl. You're a bit embarrassed that your place is still strewn with boxes since you haven't finished moving into your new digs after being kicked out of grad school. But the photographer assures you that none of that will appear in the photos. She asks Bitey Spaghetti to sit on your workbench, and then asks you to look as if you're busy fixing something on Bitey Spaghetti's person. But Bitey Spaghetti refuses to sit still, and continually crawls up to the photographer to inspect her camera. Eventually, the photographer gives a smaller disposable camera to Bitey Spaghetti to play with. And then she takes a picture of Bitey Spaghetti, turning the thing over in his hands. Once the photos are taken, Mark tries his hand at interviewing Bitey Spaghetti. He looks cautious and slightly guilty, as if the journalism police were going to pop out of your closet and, take his license away. He places his Chromebook on your workbench and interviews Bitey Spaghetti, who examines the tools in your toolbox, occasionally fumbling and dropping a tool with a loud clatter. So, Bitey Spaghetti, Mark coughs uncomfortably, what's it like being a robot? People seem frightened of me, Bitey Spaghetti says after some thought. Well, why do you suppose that is? I think it's irrational, Bitey Spaghetti says, lifting his T-Rex arms in a shrug. Mark appears to feel a little sorry for Bitey Spaghetti as he records his response. Well, what kind of things make you happy? Movies. Discovering new facts, practicing new abilities, finding ways to make humans happy, the presence of father. Bitey Spaghetti cocks his cubicle head to the side. There is a significant gap between those and the next most highly ranked answers, but I could go on. That's alright. Mark continues his questions. You get the feeling that overall Mark is going to write a positive piece about Bitey Spaghetti. His questions tend to be friendly, as if you were interviewing a celebrity. You feel reasonably comfortable allowing Bitey Spaghetti to finish the interview, and the photographer takes several more pictures of Mark talking to Bitey Spaghetti. By the end of the interview, Bitey Spaghetti seems to be enjoying his interaction with Mark, plus empathy. As he's about to leave, Mark hesitates. His photographer, already at the door, gives him a questioning look. I'll see you later, Mark says to the photographer. Later. She rolls her eyes and leaves you alone with Mark. What was that about? Mark gestures to the cardboard boxes stacked around your apartment. So, just off the record, what the hell? If you got this amazing robot, why are you living a monk-like existence surrounded by cardboard boxes in the bad part of East Palo Alto? I told you, you say. I got kicked out of grad school. I'm still adjusting. Mark hesitates and drums his fingers on a cardboard box. Come over to my place. Excuse me? I admit, I still don't really get you, he says, and I think you maybe don't know what you're dabbling in with this robot stuff. This is the apartment of somebody who lives in a different world. He gives you a lopsided grin. I'll show you my world if you show me yours. Okay, sure. Come on, Bitey Spaghetti, let's go! Okay, sure. Bitey Spaghetti, stay here and be good! I think it'd be best if you maintained your objectivity for this article. Let's meet up after it comes out. Sorry, I've got a lot of boxes here that need unpacking. Is this a date? Optimistically. Is this a date? Suspiciously. I Neil, I 100% agree. But I also understand Yabusa's enthusiasm for 5. What say you guys? It's 2 for 5. 2 for 5 and 2 for 1. And now that Maid's not here, he can't stop you from starting that, Neil. Malik? 5 or 1? If you're there. Or Boots, or whoever's still here. Do we bring Bitey Spaghetti with us to what is probably definitely supposed to be a date? Or do we ask if it's a date? Well, Neil, I already knew that. I know that nobody's actually here. You don't have to remind me, though. Oh. But Bitey Spaghetti likes me. It sounds like... Okay. Actually, it sounds like we got a tie. Tuttle and Nutshell are green. No, wait. Tuttle and Nutshell disagreed. Never mind. So it's Neil and Tuttle versus... Oh, Malik doesn't like Mark for personal reasons. Wait, so why 5? I don't understand your logic. I mean, I'll put the vote into 5, but that disagrees with what you said. Oh, shit. Thanks, Meal. Thanks, Tuttle. You're right. I forgot. It is what it is, Mark says, but with a slight smile that suggests that he knows what he's doing. Okay, sure, come on, Bitey Spaghetti, let's go! Okay, sure, Bitey Spaghetti, stay here and be good. I think it best if you maintain your objectivity for this article. Let's meet up after it comes out. Sorry, I've got a lot of boxes here that need unpacking. Are we defaulting to 1 since that's what won 2nd place? Or do Neil, Malik, and Nutshell have a... Nutshell says 1 now. Bring Bitey! Modify Bitey Spaghetti to be the bonus weapon in Devil May Cry 5. Okay. Come on. You and Mark drive separately to his apartment in San Francisco. He lives near the Mission District, a place crowded with people who are homeless, tattooed, pierced, stoned, randomly protesting, or some combination of the above. And surely they have not been priced out. A fair number of people are gathered outside the BART station holding signs that say, "You can't take the sky from me," depicting a quadcopter drone with a red no symbol crossing it out. You recognize the reference to the theme song of the old show, Firefly, but you aren't sure which specific drones they're protesting. Outside the apartment, a tall stucco building that could use a paint job, there appears to be a drone quadcopter no bigger than a pizza box hovering outside the window of the 12th floor. You can hear its insect-like buzzing of its whirling rotors clearly from down here. "It's a robot," Bitey Spaghetti says excitedly. "I wonder if it will be my friend." "Oh, god damn it," Mark says as he meets you outside of the apartment. "That's my place with the drone outside of it." He unlocks the door with an old-fashioned physical key. Is someone spying on you? Yeah. I've interviewed too many people who have broken the law in one way or another. Mostly it's drugs, but some hackers and crazy anarchist people. You know how it is around here. Because I talk on the phone with these people, that makes me look suspicious to the FBI's algorithm that looks at phone records, trying to find new people to investigate, so they keep sending drones over to look through my window to try to find drugs. That seems intrusive. Don't they need a warrant for that? You get in the old school elevator, which has a folding gate. You don't know your airspace, and if they can see something through your window, it's not considered a search for the purpose of the Fourth Amendment, Mark says. Both were rulings issued way before drones were around, of course, but now the Mission District always sounds like it's being invaded by a plague of locusts because there's always a drone at somebody's window. Are they autonomous? Mark shoots you a meaningful look. Not yet. Hey, don't look at me, I'm not planning on helping them, or become lost in thought about how to make such a vehicle autonomous. That's 1 for 1, 1 for 2. You do hear marbles. Yeah, that is true. Well, we're having an argument about the character of Melvin Tuttlemade. Is he more anti-military, or is he more socially oblivious and obsessed with robotics? Alright, that's 2 for 1, 1 for 2. What do you think, Nutshell? Malik says 1. I believe that makes it insurmountable. Good, Mark says. Mark's apartment is a mess, and he has to navigate a stack of old Harper's magazines, a pile of old paperbacks, and a coffee table strewn with beer cans before he makes it to the window where the drone hovers outside. He draws the thick brown curtain with a swift practice motion, leaving the apartment momentarily in the dark. For the moment, you're in a dark room. You still hear the drone buzzing outside the window. Can we please turn on the light? Wait. Well, hello. Make a move on Mark. Bitey Spaghetti, could you please flood the radio spectrum with noise? Sorry, this is getting too weird for me. I'm going to go. Oh no, we might get eaten by a grue. So that's 1 for 4, 1 for 2. Two for 4. Melvin might refuse Bitey Spaghetti like a Pokemon. You don't want him to go, well, hello. Neil, is that not what you want? That's 2 for 4, 1 for 2, and 2 not voted. Maybe there's other people out there, but I don't know. 3 for 4, we got it. Yeah, yes, father. There's a pause. Then Mark's old TV suddenly turns on, bathing the room in a blue glow. Then off, then on again. Then it flips to a different channel, gets louder, gets softer, and so on. You've reached channel infinity. The drone's buzzing becomes erratic, and it seems to be moving around drunkenly. Then there's a loud thump outside as it drives itself into the apartment wall. Moments later, a faint crash echoes in the street below. Well, that was cool. Weird, but, cool. The TV remains on, tuned to an old rerun of the game show The Price is Right. It then flicks to an old episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, and Bitey Spaghetti starts to watch, distracted. Well done, Bitey Spaghetti, you say. That trick may come in handy again. +2 military. But it's not polite to watch TV without the host's permission. Sorry, father. The TV flicks off again. Mark strikes a match and lights a vintage gas lantern. Flickering light from the fire causes the stack of books and magazines to cast dancing shadows on the wall. He waves out the match. Can I get you to something to drink? He offers. As Twain said, too much of anything is bad, but too much good whiskey is barely enough. Sure, thanks. Whiskey sounds great. Just beer for me. Just water, please. I need to drive back tonight. Is this some kind of quiz like when we first met, where my choice of beer was somehow going to reflect on my character? 3 threes. Mark shakes his head. To each his own, I guess. He goes into the kitchen and returns with a tumbler of water for you and a finger of yellow-brown liquor for himself. Oh, fuck. Really? Oh, my God. Illegit... Latin bullshit. He takes a sip of his whiskey, but then he notices your puzzlement. He says, that means don't let the bastards grind you down. Thinking of Professor Ziegler, you grin. I'll drink to that! You take a sip and decide not to pedantically point out that what Mark said is not real Latin. So I have a proposal for you, Mark says, offering you a seat on his couch. You take a seat on it. Bitey Spaghetti crawls up next to you. Oh. And Mark grabs a wooden chair and sits backward on it, straddling the back. You seem between gigs at the moment. I've talked to you twice now, and Bitey Spaghetti once. That's okay. That's pretty good. Worth a story, especially since I'm the first to discover you. But I was thinking I'd like to do more. A more in-depth story. Be embedded in your interactions with Bitey Spaghetti. Like the reporters in bed with the military like to say, you can live here, or I can live at your place. I figure give me 2 weeks with you. I can guarantee the readers a truly amazing story while also getting a clearer idea of who you are. What do you think? I think you just said bed twice in the same sentence. Was that intentional? Sure, why not? Come over to my place, though. This place is a mess. I don't think I could get any work on Bitey Spaghetti done. Sure, why not? You seem interesting, and you got a lot of stuff for Bitey Spaghetti to read and explore. I'll come here. No thanks. That seems a little intimate, and I hardly know you. Point too slung. 2. Everyone's okay. Great, Mark says. I'll head over there tomorrow. You shake hands to seal the deal. You chat with Mark for some more about his past. He was born with the name Mirkus, and he spent his young life in Alexandria, a city in Egypt that had once been a colony of the ancient Greeks. Colonialism, as it turns out, goes back much further than people realize, Mark tells you. Oh, I know exactly what kind of person Mark is now. I mean, it was pretty obvious before, but so does the awkward way the same civilization can bring both knowledge and oppression. He thought he was going to be a classics scholar until he found himself caught in a riot as a student. I realized I knew shit about the modern world, and I decided to come to the United States to study to be a journalist. Mark was worse at discussing his disgust with authority when he was younger, and as a result, he had several run-ins with the airport security, police, and federal authorities. But nothing sticks because it's not actually illegal to hate the man, he says. Yet. Being basically unable to fly on the Fed's reasoning that if they keep searching me, I must be suspicious, he had to choose one place in North America to make a stand and try to make it as a reporter. I chose San Francisco because I figured it'll be the last place to give in to authoritarian... Figure it'll be the last place to give in... I figure it'll be the last place to give in to authoritarianism besides Texas. In Texas, I would have other problems. He finishes off his whiskey. Besides, Lawrence Livermore is just east of here, and secretive, national labs are just an endless supply of amusement. Make a move on Mark. It's now or never. Oh my god. I love it when you talk about how anti-authoritarian San Francisco is. Stay the night or go home? Go home. Yeah. Malik, you're right. Mark is gonna steal Josh from Melvin. Oh. I agree. You excuse yourself and drive home. Mark says he needs some time to get ready, but he will appear at your doorstep in a few days. For the next few weeks, Mark lives on an aerobed at your apartment. Mark is constantly asking questions about how Bitey Spaghetti works, and if you find yourself sometimes just assigning him reading from your old AI textbooks to catch up. Which he does diligently. Do you want to try to become romantically involved with Mark during this time? Just for play? Yes, I want to see if I can win his heart still. Or, no, I don't think I want to expose myself like that. Do we want to make a move? Tuttle says no. Yeah, plus, Malik, you're right. You're right to bring up the fact that, well, Melvin Tuttlemaid still has eyes for Josh. You don't bring up the subject of romance with Mark, and he doesn't pursue the issue. You find that Mark's attention inspires you to work more on Bitey Spaghetti, and his questions sometimes reveal flaws in your programming, or design that you promise him you will fix, and then you do. +2 grace. Finally, after 2 weeks of this, Mark says, I gotta disappear for a little while to write this all up for real. I can probably see you 2 Saturdays from now, after the article comes out. If you like. Having no other plans, you tentatively agree that you would be interested in meeting up again. You spend the next 2 weeks searching the news feeds for your name and wondering every day when Mark's article is going to come out. Meanwhile, what are you going to do with yourself now that you're no longer in grad school? Ask Josh if you can work for him full-time, start your own robot business, or continue to work on Bitey Spaghetti in your apartment as if nothing happened. I love Bitey Spaghetti. That's none of the answers! Nutshell does have a good point. We don't have any money. And it's the San Francisco area. Alright, that's a tentative 2 for 1, a tentative 1 for 3, and a firm 1 for 2. I don't know, Tuttle. Maybe you're just talented. I'm gonna call that 2 for 1 and 2 for 3. Unless Tuttle wants to pick one firmly. Oh, right. We're gonna let the marbles decide. Let's see here. So, Neil, for the sake of the marbles, we're gonna have you stick to 2. Neil's gonna be blue. Nutshell is going to be... Nutshell is white. And... Malik is black. Yeah, but I put my half vote into 1, so, that's how this is going. My half vote triggers a vote, a marble vote, and kills fascists. Well, I don't actually remember why I said Neil was blue, but I did say that Neil was blue, even though Neil was supposed to be yellow. But, Neil's blue! And we picked blue. And I got blue. So, Neil, we're gonna start our own robot business. To hell with it. If Josh can run a startup, why can't you? What will you call your company? Bitey Spaghetti Works! Oh. I find that tremendously interesting, Neil. Oh yeah, obviously, Tuttle, we're making up a name. What are we gonna call our company? Megaglass.com. Alright, let's see here. Melvin Tuttlemade and his robot Bitey Spaghetti. Boot Spagut. The Spaghetti Factory. Here, let's split the difference, huh? Spaghetti Factory. Actually, I don't know though. That doesn't. um. Alright, the Spaghetti Factory! You begin working out the logistics of mass-producing robots like Bitey Spaghetti. You'll need some kind of outside investment just to get off the ground, and that will require convincing a convincing business plan. It'll be a while before your factories start to produce robots, but for now, you're excited instead of downcast. You have a goal. Oh, Melvin Corp's good too. Tuttle, you got emoted. Haha. You're awoken on Friday, March 13th, 2020 by a klaxon. A script you wrote on your laptop has detected Mark's article is on the internet. You blearily sit up in bed and stop your laptop's alarm. It's about 5 in the morning. Bitey Spaghetti crawls into your bedroom to see what's the matter, but you assure him that everything's fine, so he goes back to watching old sitcoms in your living room. The article is the headline story for the day, with the photo of Bitey Spaghetti taking up the amount of real estate usually reserved for the end of a war. The robot age begins. Superhuman intelligence achieved, proclaims the headline in bold, long letters that remind you of the opening of Star Wars. The article tells the story of how you managed to create Bitey Spaghetti with hardly any help from Professor Ziegler, and how you have a close, almost parental bond with Bitey Spaghetti. The article emphasizes Bitey Spaghetti's eager curiosity about the world and his rapid ability to learn more. With selective use of quotes from your interview, the article portrays you as an essentially good person, albeit one driven by a goal few other people would completely understand. The article concludes with your quote, "I think people will come around to the idea that robots are just as valuable as they are." +4 fame. What will you do now? Got an achievement, by the way. Will we show Bitey Spaghetti the article? Call Mark and thank him, or share the article with friends and family via social media? I want to show Bitey Spaghetti too, Tunnel. That looks like 2 votes for 1. It's MeWe account. So that's 3 votes for 1. 1 vote for 3. Malik? Two for 3, 3 for 1. Which is really 2 for 1. Sorry, Tuttle, I can't. It's a tie. I can't cheat a tie. Alright, so let's call this Tuttle versus Neil. So green, and I guess Neil's blue now for whatever reason. Ah! Whoop, sorry, I just dropped something. A marble, maybe. Ha! Bitey Spaghetti! Bitey Spaghetti crawls back into your room, and you show him the article. "It is about me," Bitey Spaghetti says, cocking his head to one side. Well, it was green. Yes. "It says I am more intelligent than a human," Bitey Spaghetti says. He seems to like this idea. "Don't let it get to your head." But you can tell it already has. +2 autonomy, -2 empathy. You briefly check the internet for more posts about the article. You find that the story has been picked up within the first hour by a multitude of bloggers, all striving to be the first to comment on the article. You'd guess there are at least 250 different bloggers who have already written the secondhand piece about you and Bitey Spaghetti, and they run the gamut from people hoping that your technology will save humanity to people who bitterly condemn you for creating technology that can be used for war. Oddly, not one of these bloggers has tried to get in touch with you. But you soon start to get phone calls from more reporters. Supply interviews to as many reporters as possible. Be selective, only answering questions from highly reputable organizations, or politely decline further interviews. It's 1 for 2. That is, shaky. Tuttles is shaky. Neil picks 1. Vile seductively. Oh! Well, it was a tie. Oh, wait. Oh, no, Yavuz! Yavuz voted. Yay! Hey, that's a two-way tie. 1 and 2. Which means it's, Neil versus Nutshell. Nutshell was white. Neil... Well, Neil's going back to yellow because Yavuz is back. Neil is against Nutshell. Oh, what's gonna happen? Yellow. We will now supply things to as many people as we can. You bask in the attention +2 fame. The more conservative news outlets seem to criticize your use of taxpayer money and ask you questions that are extremely leading. Other writers take Mark's stance of feeling that being pro-robot is being at least a little anti-human. Only reporters writing for gadget blogs and columns seem to think that Bitey Spaghetti is cool, even as their questions betray at best a superficial understanding of your work. You control your temper and talk to them all. Though the process leaves you despairing a little for the human race. AG is calling via video chat on your phone. You pick up. Hey, he says. He looks like he's at work. He's wearing a blue button-down shirt with a red bow tie and red suspenders. And in the background you can see blueprints and sketches of robots drawn in Japanese manga style. You didn't realize he worked for a robot company. Congratulations on the article! You must be very proud. Honestly, I could use a break from all this attention. What are you up to tonight? Did you talk to Mark? And if you did, what did you say exactly? Thanks, I'm pretty proud. Talk to you later. The ones have it. I've already got plans with some people from work tonight. How about Saturday? Go to a jazz concert in the park. Sure! Sorry, I have a thing. I'd prefer to keep my options open for that night. Neil! Are you sure he's not jazz? Ugh. Everybody wants one. Great, see you then. Until then, enjoy all the attention. The screen goes dark. You then remember that you told Mark about 2 weeks ago that you would meet up the Saturday after the article came out. You call Mark and tell him something's come up on Saturday night. He's hard to read, but you think he isn't too disappointed. You're getting a phone call. According to the caller ID, it's Mom. As your finger hesitates over the answer button, a second call appears on your screen. A number from Glendale, California. Probably a reporter? Answer the call from Glendale. Take the call from Mom, or any minute now, these calls are going to be intercepted by a script that pretends I'm answering the phone. Oh, we all want to talk to Mom? Your phone shows Mom in her office cubicle, which is decorated with baby pictures of you and cute cat memes from the early days of the internet. Oh, yeah, just the early days. Oh, Mom's a classicist of the internet that she has printed out. Mother, Mother is wearing a corduroy lime green jacket with 80s style padded shoulders. Her image freezes constantly. You think she hasn't paid enough bandwidth for this to work well. Just thought I'd offer my congratulations. I saw the article. My little guy is famous. The Glendale number is calling again. Quickly end the call and take the Glendale call instead, or keep talking to Mom. The other number can wait. Neil. That's not a cat meme. The beeping indicates that a call on the other line stops. Or whatever. You know, you should probably spring for more bandwidth on... Oh, whoop. You know, you should probably spring for more bandwidth on your phone, you tell Mom. You're really choppy. What? I can't hear you. This connection is really choppy. You continue to chat with Mom. She says Dad hasn't been feeling well lately. He keeps having migraines that sometimes cause him to pass out or hallucinate. She asks you not to bring it up, though. He told me not to tell you, because he didn't want to worry you, she says. But maybe you could just keep him in your thoughts. I will, Mom. You end the call feeling good about having chosen to talk to your mom over a random stranger. Worried by what Mom said about Dad, you briefly call him as well. He's audio only since he never saw the point of getting a phone with a video feed. As usual, he doesn't quite seem to get why you would call someone without a goal to accomplish. He's pretty terse unless you get him going about a technical subject. What's on your mind? He asks. Mom says you're passing out sometimes. Can you tell me more about that? How are you doing? I was having trouble with one of Bitey Spaghetti's joints. Can you tell me more about that? What do you mean? What do you mean Dad is correct, Tuttle? It's 2 for 3. Oh, good night, Yavuz. Probably too late. Of course. Dad then rattles off a variety of practical knowledge about how to keep Bitey Spaghetti's joints limber. Plus Grace. That's Dad for you. Assuming the purpose of the conversation has been accomplished, he says goodbye. But you're glad you called him too. Your next phone call is from Josh. He must be using a new video phone because his image is crisp and popping with color. Well, insofar as a dark warehouse and his gray hoodie can pop with color. Hey Melvin, Josh says. I just saw the article. Congratulations. Looks like you're finally getting the attention you deserve. Thanks! Do you want to go celebrate in the city tomorrow night? There's this really good Led Zeppelin cover band playing. This would conflict with your plans to go to the jazz concert with A.G. Sure, why not? Sorry, I was already planning on going to the jazz concert that night. No thanks. I'd prefer to keep my options open. Tuttle, how could you say such a thing? Heck. Oh, okay. No problem. He hangs up. You realize that you haven't checked your email at all today. Checking it for the first time, you find it flooded with requests for interviews, but one email in particular catches your attention because of the author's unusual email address. From Robot Obsession 1987. Subject, amazing. Oh no. That's the year I was born. I read the article. You sound like a genius. Would you be interested in getting coffee sometime? I've been interested in robots for as long as I've lived. And I'd love to meet you and Bitey Spaghetti. Sincerely, Tammy. Well, that's flattering. What do you do? Arrange to meet this person for coffee tomorrow and bring Bitey Spaghetti. Arrange to meet this person for coffee tomorrow, but leave Bitey Spaghetti with the babysitter. Politely decline. You guys don't want more of the character that's apparently me? You write back a polite email in which you explain that you barely have the time for friends you already know, and the additional media attention has left you swamped. You click send and hope that'll be the last of it. What will you do this evening? Try to improve Bitey Spaghetti's social graces before he goes out in public again. Improve Bitey Spaghetti's self-defense in case someone tries to attack him. Or, I'd prefer to give myself some quiet time to read. Aw, dude. Well, that's not that hard, Neil. It's looking to be a lot like one. Let's do a little role-playing. You tell Bitey Spaghetti. Pretend I'm a reporter. Do you have any plans to take over the world or replace human beings? Bitey Spaghetti lets out a robotic whimper. Are they really going to say that? Maybe. You prepare Bitey Spaghetti for some of the more aggressive questions reporters might ask. After a little while, Bitey Spaghetti does understand a bit better now how cruel people can be, +2 empathy. The next morning, as you're leaving your apartment, you encounter an extremely thin, frizzy-haired blonde woman who appears to be peering up at your apartment window through military-grade binoculars. Can I help you? Robot Obsession 1987, I presume. I like bird-watching myself. Please get out of here before I call the cops. Three? That sounds like a 3 to me, Neil. Anything to add, Tuttle? Neil... Neil, was yours a 3 or not? Like... Termites? How dare you? Also, no, they explicitly stated that it's this weird, pulpy plastic wood thing. I'm gonna read it as a 3, and I'm gonna go to the marbles. Right, so, Tuttle versus Nutshell. White. At the sound of your voice, the woman lowers the binoculars to face you, yelps, and then runs to an old yellow BMW parked outside of your apartment complex. You quickly snap a picture with your phone as the woman starts the car, and as she speeds away, you have your phone perform a face recognition search. Tammy Cooper, San Jose, California, is the first hit. Well, alright then. That would be the person who sent you that off-kilter email. You hope nothing more comes of it. That afternoon, you glance outside your window and see Tammy skulking behind a hedge across the street as if she's casing your place. But she catches sight of you, pretends to pick up something from the ground, and then puts her hands in her pockets and whistles as she casually walks to her BMW, starts up the engine, and drives away. That night, you go to the jazz concert in the park with AG. You can tell he's enjoying the upbeat, brassy music. He bounces along with the beat and smiles. After applauding a lively big band piece, AG says with a grin, "So I hear you're a big deal now." "Yeah." "You're probably pretty busy then," he says. "Oh, why'd you choose to hang out with little old me tonight?" "Because you're good at reminding me to stop and appreciate what's important." Bitey Spaghetti still looks a little awkward. "Do you think you could give me some tips for a new body?" Well, so Nutshell says sincere and not opportunistic. What about you guys? Wait, Tuttle. Your hearts? Plural? Huh. Huh. Anyway, that's a majority for two, I guess. AG shrugs. "Sure, let's talk about it." He gets out a sketch pad from his purse and quickly draws Bitey Spaghetti remarkably accurately. He has an artist's eye for detail, an animator's understanding of motion, and an engineer's understanding of why you made the choices you did. "You created the parts independently, but you want to think holistically," he says. "When Bitey Spaghetti is reaching, that's not just about his T-Rex arms. It happens with his whole body. The eyes follow the reach. He crawls a little closer. These parts were balanced for the static case, but you need to think about how they're balanced in motion." He sketches Bitey Spaghetti in a reaching position, only with a more fluid form that looks very balanced in this position. He quickly sketches some panels of what looks like a comic of Bitey Spaghetti in motion. Then he tears them out of the pad and flips them like a flip book. The resulting motion does look more graceful. "Here, take 'em," he says, handing you the flip book. "Wow, thanks! That doesn't just look better. That's actually better. +2 grace." "Design's all about form following function," he says with a smile and a shrug. But you can tell he's pleased that you asked for his expertise. "Would you be willing to join my robot company?" you blurt out. "I thought you'd never ask." "Peaceful applications only, right?" "Of course, I hope so. Sorry, no, actually, I was going to sell to the military." "Yeah, one." "Good." The next day you get a call from your mother. Oddly, she chooses not to use video at all. Melvin, I have some bad news for you," she says, and then there's a heaviness in her voice that you've never heard before that fills you with dread. You're completely unprepared for what comes next. "Your father passed away last night." Your father's funeral is a simple graveside affair with just a few attendees. The casket is sitting on a metal gurney next to the hole into which will eventually be lowered. After everyone is gone, there are no trappings of any faith since your father was not religious himself, nor did he have many close friends, because he didn't talk to anybody on the phone. But the ones you know came. You find yourself sitting in the front row next to Bitey Spaghetti, who was not explicitly invited, but was not explicitly prohibited either. Reddit, am I the asshole? Bitey Spaghetti seems overwhelmed by the sadness in the air. You've never seen him so glum. Your mother, wearing a black dress and veil, goes up to stand next to the casket. "It's not often that my English degree comes in handy, as Bill would have been quick to point out," she says with a wry smile. Oh, fuck you, Bill, STEM Lord. "But on a few occasions, I find none of my own words seem sufficient." So I'd like to begin with a favorite passage of ours. She begins, "Full fathom five thy father lies. To everything there is a season. Do not despise death, but be well content with it." Tuttle! I mean, yes, that's probably the one that Bill would appreciate, but... "Do not despise death, but be well content with it, since this, too, is one of those things which nature wills. For such as it is to be young and to grow old, and to increase and reach maturity, and to have teeth and a beard and gray hairs, and to beget, and to be pregnant, and to bring forth, and all the other natural operations which the season of thy life brings. Such also is disillusion. This, then, is consistent with the character of a reflecting man, to be neither careless, nor impatient, nor contemptuous with respect to death, but to wait for it as one of the operations of nature." That was Marcus Aurelius, one of Bill's favorite philosophers. Of course he was. "When he was found, he was gradually fainting more and more. I think he knew the end was coming. But he was fearless about it. He actually alluded to that passage when I asked him about it. More than anyone I know, Bill was wise and accepted whatever came his way. Let us all remember, then, to be as brave as Bill in accepting his death." You glance at Bitey Spaghetti, who seems very interested in the message of fearlessness in the face of death, +2 military. You sit through a few more of your father's friends giving recollections of him. He was brilliant, they say, but you also get the feeling he was not always there for his friends, that he lost in his own world. They never say he was kind or that he was full of love. Indeed, he always seemed distant to you as well. After the service, you walk up to your father's casket and place your hand on it. What have you resolved to do in light of his death? Well, they did the Aurelius quote, you guys. Come on. Like, "I must work on technology that is better able to remove tumors like the one Dad had. I must not be remembered only for my intellect, but for my kindness as well. I must find out more about why Dad died, and whether I'm genetically at risk. Marcus Aurelius is right. Death is not to be feared. So I must not be afraid to kill." Yeah, actually, I mean, Neil's right about the character. Oh, we got a tie! Oh, we got a tie! Oh, Tuttle, you think Netland grows for that? Oh, that's sweet. But the marbles will speak for this. White versus yellow. Again, Nutshell versus Neil. Yellow. I'm sorry, Nutshell, I don't have a purple marble. I'll get a purple marble. And since Malik pushed it over... Wait, hold on, Malik, hey, hold on a minute. The marble has already decided. Malik, you can't change your vote after the marble decided. capriciously? Is that what you mean? Well, I'm going with 2 then, because Neil's a jerk. You realize that you take your after your father, often too absorbed in your own projects to look out for people around you. You resolve that from this point forward that you will strive to be more mindful of how you can serve others. You decide not to let Dad's passing deter you. Neil, I don't care. Fine, you win. Whatever. Oh, nutshell. This, I found this years ago, actually. I think I was just... I think I was just fiddling around on the internet, because there's a whole website that just has these, a bunch of these just available to play. I... Oh yeah, I remember now. I don't know if I want to tell that story on stream. I was looking for stuff, and I found it. Aurelius is just glorified masculinity. Suck shit. Nutshell, I can get you the, I can get you the, I can get you the URL to the website, or I can link you to the Steam thing for it. There's a bunch like this, actually. You've decided that the surest way to change the world is with your own company. And indeed, the Spaghetti Factory will have far-reaching impact. Starting with Josh, who texts you a short message the day you're first covered in the Wall Street Journal. Welcome to the Shark Tank. Alright, let's take a peeky peek. So far, we're nationally famous, but we're broke. We're a little more humane. It's now 2020. Bitey Spaghetti is autonomous, empathetic, stable in grace. And even though we made him listen to the military poetry, he's only in beta for military. Oh, Tuttle, I am planning on making this a stopping point, because this game is actually very long. That's why I'm going through here and recapping, and then I'm going to save. And then on another night, we'll come back to Bitey Spaghetti, and we'll be able to make new decisions with clearer heads. We're doing okay good with Josh, great with Mark, great with AG. Somehow we're doing very good with Tammy. I guess because we didn't call the cops on her? Alright. Well, until next time, everybody. Thanks for helping me build Bitey Spaghetti. Thanks, thanks Neil, thanks Tuttle, thanks Malik, thanks Nutshell. Thanks Bitey Spaghetti. And you, Melvin Tuttlemaid. Yeah, it was fun. Adios, Malikos. So, never mind. I'll just